We're entering a precarious time. 2023 is going to experience a significant slowdown versus 2022 in terms of digital ad spend. We're seeing a combination of cyclical headwinds, the economy, and of course structural change in digital advertising in relation to third-party cookies, Apple ATT, and so forth. In May 2022, I was still predicting for 2022 a plus 10% growth. I've since downwarded that to 7.1%. And for 2023, I was initially looking at around 5.5%. Now, in particular, what we see happening in the social space, which is a large proportion of overall digital ad spend, we're going to see a slowdown to about 2.4% across all of Europe. This is the slowest growth anticipated in digital ad spend in Europe since we started sizing the market in 2006. We're seeing a recalibration of growth where new sources of growth are coming in. In the past, we saw a major growth driver was social, which contributes around 50% of the display advertising market, which is native, banner, video, and so forth. Now, this market is largely saturated, and we are predominantly seeing a redistribution of spend and also an evaporation of spend as due to signal loss in terms of data granularity for measurement and attribution. There's less spend available. We're also seeing a slowdown in search overall, which used to prop up the digital ad market in previous recessions, but not because search overall is out of fashion, but we're seeing a move more towards vertical search, i.e. search in specific environments. This is exactly where growth is, in so-called new walled or hedged gardens, in particular in the retailer and marketplace space, where ad impressions and conversions and attribution happen at the same time. So retail media, commerce media, merchant media, however you want to call this, is likely to experience the fastest growth, and we think it's still going to grow double-digit, despite a much weakening macroeconomic environment, as every ad euro needs to work harder for its money, and these new environments with rich first-party data provide the measurement that advertisers are looking for. Other growth is coming from continued video, as we see more brand advertising spend coming into digital advertising regardless of the recessionary environment. This is partly in social, but also outside of social in BVOD, but also in terms of fast channels and others, a growth in video spend. Audio advertising in the digital space is still fairly nascent. It's only around 700 million euros of spend currently, which sounds a lot, but as the overall European digital ad market is 92 billion, it's really still very early days. But it's growing extremely quickly. We saw audio grow as the fastest channel in 2021, up around 52%. And this is coming both from streaming music and also from the podcast environment. Podcasts used to outperform, but we think we have reached peak podcast advertising soon in terms of growth, because typically you can only use the ad impressions or kind of once, whereas with audio you have much more opportunity to place ads against the same content as people listen to songs more frequently. We expect audio to continue to grow as measurement improves and also as more than experimental spend comes into the space. However, it's still going to stay below 1 billion in 2022 and below 1.3 billion in 2023. So it is too small to tip the scale for much faster growth in the overall digital ad space. There are going to be considerable differences in growth across European ad markets. Typically, despite the fact that we cover in our AdX benchmark study, which is an ad sizing study, 28 markets, we see a strong skew towards the UK, Germany, and France as the top 3 markets, and a massive long tail of smaller markets. So any movements in consumer confidence, in terms of advertiser confidence, will have a stronger impact on overall European ad spend if we take into account those 3 markets. Now, we see an acceleration in particular now in Southern European markets, which used to be very TV dominated with a lower exposure to digital, but this is changing rapidly now. We're seeing a slowdown just because digital is so strong and established already in Nordic markets, in the Netherlands, for instance. We're going to see the UK remaining a crucial part of the overall digital ad market in Europe. But due to extremely strong growth in previous years, there is less to go by, in particular amplified by Brexit and extremely strong consumer price inflation. We see two new pockets of growth, in particular when we look at emerging markets. This is more kind of long term. When we think about Turkey, when Ukraine recovers, some smaller Eastern European markets with other demographic structures than in the West. Strong growth of social platforms there still, strong growth of video, and also growth in Western Mediterranean markets in Spain and in Italy, which are large ad markets overall, but still strongly skewed towards television in particular. And if we look at a market like Italy, which has huge differences in broadband penetration between the north of the country and the south, this is being corrected currently. So the market opportunity there is significant, both in terms of the addressable market due to higher broadband speeds, but also because there is still a lot of money to migrate out of traditional mass media into digital. The next 18 to 24 months will be a challenging time due to the economic slowdown, due to the structural changes in the ecosystem. But it is this combination of things, it's a perfect storm for innovators to make their mark.